What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast. Let me pop whatever music is on right now. Let's see. All right. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the podcast. You know the name. I'm not going to say we're streaming live right now over everything. Thank you, Amanda, for not that introduction. I don't really do that anymore, but we still love Amanda. And yeah, good show tonight. We're going to talk a little about the band you hear in the background. Going to hear a little bit about Limp Bizkit. We'll see. We got I got a question for Jack. I got a couple of trivia questions for him. Not trivia questions, just kind of curiosity questions. And of course, I'm not really prepared for that because I forgot until just now. But we'll get through it like we always do. So with all that said, I know I'm talking real fast. I am jacked on. Well, Jack's coming on, but I am pumped on some extra turbo tonight. So Jack better fucking be good. Jack, buddy.
Hey, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. How are you?
You can hear me okay?
I guess.
You guess.
Yeah, we're not going to fix it.
So what is it that you're drinking?
Some extremely turboed iced coffee that I make here, not from Dunkin'.
7:00 at night.
Well, I got to do the show. I got to get through you.
Oh yeah, it's my fault.
It's your fault.
Can you sleep after that?
I don't go to bed. Actually, sometimes caffeine makes me tired in the end on that come down. So
what time do you generally go to bed at night?
10:30.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, 10:30. Yeah. Dr. Vera and I, she's like, she just says, social media? Hey, dude, sure. So we go in the bedroom and just kind of, watch some videos or whatever. We just kind of wind down. And I torment people on Facebook and other platforms, and I go to bed happy. What are you doing?
I was saying hello to Patricia.
Oh yeah, let me put up the chat. All right, hold on. Let me block you out for a second. Here we go. There we go.
It was just
Patty.
I was just saying hi to Patty, man.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm not usually. No, I'm not gonna argue tonight. Let me get this banner off there. That was. Let's get this off. If I remember how to get the fucking thing off.
Here we go.
I'm just,
show is rolling along with its usual.
Moving right along. Yeah, moving right along. Captions. There we go. We'll get rid of it. And be gone.
Charlie Chase.
There we go. Be gone. Yeah. So we got a good show tonight. We're gonna talk. I got a video I want us to watch. I just lost it, but I'll bring it back up again.
All right.
Let me see. Yeah, let me see if I can. What do you think? So I saw. We'll get to that video in a minute. So I saw an interview with Wolfie Van Halen, and he pretty much said that his uncle Alex, if he wasn't playing behind Eddie Van Halen, would. Where'd the chat go? Did I have that chat? Let's get the overlay over there. There we go. He said that his Charlie Chaz, what's up, man? He said that his uncle would be one of the greatest drummers in music if he wasn't playing behind Eddie Van Halen. Now, I have a kind of a funny story. So our friend Phil Kelly. What do you call him?
Fetus.
Yeah. Him and my friend, our friend Jim Hurley went to see Van Halen some years back when they got back together with David Lee Roth, and they went to the Worcester Centrum, and he reports in the next morning. I said, how was the show? He goes, great. I said, how was David Lee Roth? Because I had seen videos. And he said, Dolly Parton's shoes. I said, what? That was his answer. I said, how was David Lee Roth? He said, Dolly Parton's shoes. I said, what the fuck does that mean? He goes, who looks at Dolly Parton's shoes? In other words, it was all about watching Eddie Van Halen. That was really the whole thing.
I can actually comment on that because I get up in the mornings and I when I can, when the weather is permitting and I have the time, I go out and I do about a 4-mile trek and just throw the headphones on and listen to different things. And yesterday, I went out for a 4-mile walk, and I was clicking around, and I have a Van Halen list. And I actually went and listened to a little bit of a different kind of truth. So that's the album that they made post Sammy Hagar, and they made it with David Lee Roth. And
the album that no one ever really listened to.
Yeah, it's actually not a bad record. There's some good stuff on it. But after listening to that for a little bit, that I actually listened to, they have the album, the second live album that they put out is called Live from the Tokyo Dome. So this is the reunion tour, and David Lee Roth is horrendously bad. He just cannot sing. Strangely enough, and the sad thing about it is the band is rocking. Those guys are in lockstep with one another. They are as tight as a drum and just sound absolutely fantastic.
Was Wolfie playing?
Wolfie was playing. Yeah, he was playing bass and singing, background vocals and sounding really, really good.
All right.
David Lee Roth, not so much, man.
Dolly Parton's shoes.
Dolly Parton's shoes.
Yeah. So, what do you think of that? Where do you think Alex Van Halen stands in these lists?
He was a solid drummer, but was he a Bonham, Neil Peart, Keith Moon? No. He's not, I wouldn't put him in the top 20.
Really? Would you put Ringo ahead of him?
I think Ringo was an innovator in the way that he played drums. So yeah, I would.
If Ringo wasn't in the Beatles, would Ringo be Ringo?
Ringo would be the best sanitation worker in Liverpool.
A unique style of play. Now, granted, he was the second drummer, but he's the drummer. And I think we've had this discussion in the past. He was like Charlie Watts. He was subtly consistent, subtly exactly what they needed. He did what they wanted them to do, what they wanted him to do. And he had a unique style, that left-handed lift that he would do in a crossover or whatever kind of weird thing that he did. But Alex Van Halen, really? I mean, why is he one of the greatest? So, and I never understood this. You get one of the greatest rock bands in history, right? Not even arguably. They are one of the greatest rock bands in history.
Yeah.
Yet the only one that is a list maker is Eddie Van Halen. Michael Anthony had to be good enough on bass to stay in that pack. I mean, Alex was never leaving because of Eddie. But
no.
Why isn't Alex Van Halen? Like, what is his style that people just look at and go, he's just an average drummer?
I don't know that I would say that he's average. He's
in
definitely
the big picture.
He's a great drummer, but I mean, you're right. I mean, he was kind of overshadowed by Eddie and David Lee Roth. They were the stars of the band, and Alex was part of the rhythm section.
Why isn't Alex better than Tommy Lee? And I'm not asking you to put you on the spot. These are questions. This is like one of those how do you decipher questions? And I always kind of fucking argue with myself on those things, like guitar players. But we'll talk about drummers. I won't get sidetracked with the coffee. But like what is the difference between Tommy Lee and Alex Van Halen? And Tommy Lee is always considered one of the greats.
Yeah. Look, I'm not a drummer. So I don't know, technically whether Tommy Lee was better or worse than Alex Van Halen. I think they were both good drummers.
I'm just going by lists. There's always the lists. That's the only thing we can really go by. To for the sake of conversation. Not even arguing.
Yeah.
I just don't ever get why these guys, like, he doesn't. Look at it. He had the big fucking drum kit. He had fucking 17 drums. He had 15 cymbals. He had the fucking lights. He had the fucking drum kit. He had the 2 bass kicks. He had the fucking bong behind him. Like, go down the line of drummers that had all that shit, right? The real rock star drummer.
Just because he has the equipment, it doesn't mean that he's the great drummer.
Well, is that part of it though? Like, is the presentation part of it? They don't play intricate music like Tool, or like, you know, and even the drummer from Radiohead. Like, he has to be fucking good enough to keep up with them. And you've heard me say a number of times that they are fucking man for man the most talented rock band, I think, in the world. I mean, they're just fucking brilliant at what they do, right? So Alex, he had the same big drum kit as Bonham and as Neil Peart. No, Neil Peart had a really fucking crazy drum set.
Yes, he did.
He you know, like what's his name? Danny Carey from Tool. He's got a very intricate drum kit because of the type of music. Now, okay, let me jump into him. He is slowly becoming recognized because of social media. Particularly that one video, the viral video of him. What's the name of the song? It begins with an A. They always have these. And he's playing like ambient or something like that. I forget the name of the song, but it's very intricate drumming.
Well, you don't remember the name of the song?
Nah, I'll send you the video. You know what? Let me see. But, you know, like someone like him who's starting to become recognized. Numa, what is it? Numa. Did you ever see that video?
I don't think so.
All right, let me see if I can get tricky over here. Let me see if I can pull this up. If I pull it up, I'm surprised you haven't seen it. Let me see. Here we go. So, there we go. Now watch this. You've never seen this video?
No.
I'm not going to show the whole thing because it's 11 minutes of this, and I'll probably get... Love the Larry Bird uniform that he's wearing, though. I'm going to skip ahead. See, the thing about them is so the thing about Tool, as you know, is they're very offbeat, right?
Yeah.
And that can't be easy to drum because drummers are usually in rhythm. It's got to be extremely hard to play out of rhythm, but make it work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, he's slowly becoming recognized as one of the best drummers now because all the old drummers are dying. Number one,
but let's talk about what you brought up. So, is Alex Van Halen, one of the best drummers that are out there, right? So let me throw a couple of names at you. Who would you pick as being the better drummer? You ready?
Yeah.
Neil Peart or Alex Van Halen?
Neil Peart, of course. It's a
Okay.
no-brainer.
John Bonham or Alex Van Halen?
You're right. You know the answer.
Yeah. Dave Grohl.
Dave Grohl or Alex Van Halen?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'd say close up you.
It's a little close. I'd say Alex Van Halen.
Okay. All right. Kenny Aronoff or Alex Van Halen?
He plays for who?
He played for like Mellencamp. He was that guy, that bald guy that just hits the shit out of the drum.
Yeah,
He hired by everybody. He's played with Dylan. He's played.
Yeah, I was going to say he's a hired gun. Yeah. You know what? Okay. So let me stop here. I will answer the question, but that's a whole nother level of like you get these hired gun drummers that are studio drummers.
But he wasn't a hired drummer, hired gun. He played for John Mellencamp's band.
Are we talking rock?
Yeah.
Or pop or contain? I'd say again Alex Van Halen.
Okay. Stuart Copeland.
He's top 5 in my book.
Carter Buford from the Dave Matthews Band. I know you're not a fan, but
no, I'm a fan. No, I've never not been a fan of Dave Matthews. I like Dave Matthews. I was listening to him back in 96, 97. I always liked Dave Matthews. I never had any problem with him. Alex Van Halen, because Van Halen is more drum oriented than Dave Matthews is.
That is absolutely false.
I don't know. I would just think I'd go with Alex Van Halen.
So what about Tal's suggestion there? Peter Criss or Alex Van Halen?
Alex Van Halen. although you can't take it away if you put them in their prime, right? Both of them in their prime. Peter Criss had to be a really good drummer because they weren't slow.
Yeah. What about Phil Collins?
I think Phil Collins is there with Dave Grohl.
But would you pick him over Alex Van Halen?
Phil Collins in his prime over Alex Van Halen.
Some of that Genesis stuff.
That's a good question. All right, I'll give you. Got me leaning toward Phil Collins. All right.
So here's a tough one for you. You're gonna have to think on this one.
Yeah.
Joey Kramer or Alex Van Halen?
Joey Kramer.
Okay. Bill Buford. Do you know him?
No.
He played with like who did he play with? Yeah, I think he played with he played with King Crimson. He's definitely one of those prog rock drummers. Yeah.
They're usually really good drummers.
Yeah.
They're usually really good drummers.
What about Chad Smith from the Red Hot Chili Peppers?
Alex Van Halen. I like Chad Smith. I like Chad Smith. I like Flea, individually. I just don't like the band as a group. I don't like Anthony Kiedis.
Yeah. What about Stephen Perkins from Jane's Addiction? Tremendous.
Yeah. That's why I had to think about that one. So is Van Halen too big that you don't really pay attention to their songs anymore? Whereas Jane's Addiction,
I think you touched upon it a little bit, right? There was so much attention given to Eddie and his musicianship and David Lee Roth and his shenanigans that, Alex Van Halen is probably overlooked.
Yes, I believe he is.
So if you subscribe to such things, Rolling Stone magazine, they do the top 100 songs of all time, top 100 rock bands, live bands, greatest guitarists. Where do you think Alex Van Halen places on the top 100 for Rolling Stone magazine?
I'm sure he's probably in the. I would think he'd be at the lowest on that list, low being 100. I would hope that he's in the 30s.
I think he was 51.
Wow.
Now, in all fairness, I think that Rolling Stone goes a little bit broader than just rock. So, like Elvin Jones is in there, and Buddy Rich, Gene Krupa is in there. But by and large, that Rolling Stone list is mostly, rock. You got the guy that played with you had the guy that played with James Brown and
what's his, yeah, I know who you're talking about. I can't.
Clyde Stubblefield.
Yeah, the funky drummer. Get the funky drummer drumming.
John
that dude was an innovator.
Starks.
Another one who was just an innovator in drumming.
Oh yeah.
So
what about Mitch Mitchell from the Jimi Hendrix?
Mitch Mitchell.
What about Jimi Hendrix? Mitch Mitchell.
So look, So look at Mitch Mitchell.
What
about? Let me fucking answer the question first.
What about?
Who's on coffee right now? Who's on turbo? Me or you? What about? Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up!
You shut up!
Shut the fuck up! Well, before I answer that, because I do have an observation to make with that, and it's not a bad one. Mark Smith said Phil Collins was awesome with Brand X. That's beyond me. That's Mark Smith knowledge. That's that music relish shit right there.
Yeah,
that
is that next level. That is that next shit. Level. All I do is listen to music. I've never had a tan in my life.
That's about Mark Smith right now. He's laughing and he's nodding his head, going, "I fucking hate the sun.
I don't want to go outside. Are you kidding me? There are girls out there."
And he's laughing, agreeing with you also, probably. His self-deprecating humor is all in with this right now, Jack, especially with you saying it, because, he's your biggest fan.
So here's another one. What about Levon Helm?
No, let me get back to fucking Mitch. Will you slow the fuck down? I know you're only here for an hour, but let's work through this, buddy.
No, let's work through
this. It's 38
minutes. Alex Van Halen is a competent
Mitch
drummer.
Mitchell. Look at the kit that he used. It's like fucking 5 drums.
Yeah.
But what he did with like, I don't know, relatively close to 5 drums, he was a stripped down drummer. They mostly were back then, other than those huge in the shit that they did, the music that they played to, and what they did with it is amazing. Like Mitch Mitchell was a great fucking drummer for what he had to play with.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, you look at the kit that Alex Van Halen used, just huge, massive set.
Big. Yeah.
Remember the times that you actually went to see Aerosmith? What did Joey Kramer's drum set look like?
It was big. Right?
Super basic.
Yeah. Oh, was it?
No, super basic.
Well, I didn't see them in the earlier days. I wasn't big to see them in concert because I lived there. That was one of the weird things about Aerosmith. I saw them once. That was it.
You only saw them once?
Well, I usually only see bands once anyways. Very few bands will I see more than once.
By the way, on that Rolling Stone list, Danny Carey from Tool actually is 26.
Yeah. Which, considering when he got into the game, and when was this list published?
God, I couldn't tell you
that list could be fucking 10 years old for all we know.
It very well could be.
Yeah, it does. It's still the list to play off of. I don't know. I just think that I think Alex gets overlooked. I think he was a really good drummer. I think if you listen to, his little intro on Hot for Teacher or Pretty Woman, or he's got a whole handful of just good drum intros. He was a great. I don't know if you ever saw this, but he did a great drum solo, Jack.
Oh God, fucking.
He did a great drum solo.
Snore fest.
Go get a beer.
Oh my God, get a beer and a hot dog and go watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
All right. Well, I think that's
look. But before we wrap it up, I listened to Van Halen's first second manager, their first road manager, was a guy by the name of Noel Monk. And before he died, he actually put out a memoir. And one of the things that he said a couple of times, and it could have been sour grapes, maybe not. He was like, look, Eddie Van Halen was an extraordinary once-in-a-lifetime musician. Alex Van Halen and Michael Anthony were competent people that could have been replaced by just about anybody. Those are his words, not mine.
No, I so. But
what about Cozy Powell? What about Carl Palmer?
Yeah, okay. Well, Mark Smith will like that one.
Here's an underrated drummer. What about Stan Lynch from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers? Was a fantastic drummer
until they got rid of him.
Well, they did kind of fire him. Yeah,
he couldn't keep up anymore.
It's not that he couldn't keep up. The music changed a little bit. He was not a great studio musician. He was a great live musician, and he was kind of an asshole.
Well, they didn't say that that's the reason. Maybe that added to it, but he just, like you said, music changes, right? And bands, and Tom Petty was infamous for changing styles. But with that said, I guess maybe they just fucking ran its course. It just ran its course. What's his name from fucking Lynyrd Skynyrd? What's that? They got
Artemis Pyle.
Yeah, Artemis Pyle, right? It just runs its course, and they're like, you're just not keeping up. It's funny how bands, like, nobody really pays attention to the drummer. Only the band members notice things, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know that fucking the Korn's had 5 different drummers. How many has Pearl Jam had?
I think they've had 5.
You know what? Does it really fucking matter in the big picture to us? No. Have you ever listened to a song and say, that drummer's just not keeping up? I don't think so. See, you got to think of it. If you got to think about it, then, because as the average listener, we're like, hey, he was just as good as, I don't know.
I don't know. There are some drummers that are like super basic, and it breaks my heart to say this, but Larry Mullen Jr.
average
drummer, right?
He did get a fill in.
Yeah, it's not that Adam is a bad drummer per se.
No,
he's not a very creative drummer.
He's a mate. He's one of their mates. So they fucking kept them around.
He started the band.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything. No, it doesn't mean anything, because who started the Police? Who started the Police?
Stuart Copeland.
Right. Who took over the Police?
Sting.
Who started the Rolling Stones? So whoever started the band, that's
Brian Jones was really
and who took over the band, right? So starting the band is really okay. That gets you out of the block, but you got to keep up.
Yeah, Larry is a perfectly serviceable drummer, and U2 they're not a big drum band.
No,
that's not where they.
Bullet the Blue Sky is about their biggest drum.
Well, that in Sunday Bloody Sunday.
Yeah, that's more of a marching beat. Bullet the Blue Sky is their big. That's like their when the levee breaks.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Let me see. Mark Smith commented in, some drummers can't be replaced, but I got to say, Cozy Powell did a great job in ELP.
Well, hey, Mark Smith, Cozy Powell. What about Ian Pace?
Ian Pace from
Deep Purple.
Yes. Well, again, big music, big sound. You need a big drummer.
Oh, yeah.
Do
you think that John Bonham is the greatest rock drummer of all time?
I've fought that for years. I really have fought that for years because, and I guess, thinking back and looking forward, I always thought he's a big banger and yada, yada, yada. And I'm a Ginger Baker guy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm that kind. I think Keith Moon was extremely unique in the way he played and what he did. Bonham was straight in your face. But I really, as I get older, I really look back and say he was more than what we thought he was. He was brilliant. He was a brilliant drummer. He was a naturally brilliant drummer.
I'm not a big fan of the drum solo.
Yeah,
Moby Dick.
Yeah.
Moby Dick.
Exactly. I mean, that was good for its time. You know what I mean? But that fucking riff at the beginning of When the Levee Breaks, that's fucking epic.
I'll tell you, he had a great sound.
Yeah.
But that was almost more Jimmy Page than it was John Bonham.
In what way?
Jimmy Page was, the producer and the engineer. He was the one that came up with, miking it and giving it the echo and doing all of that. I mean, John Bonham obviously was the technician, but a lot of the sound, a lot of that credit goes to Jimmy Page.
The way it was recorded, but in the end, it was Bonham's beat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think I'm not taking anything away from the production of it either.
I will not take anything away from it. John Bonham was a great drummer. The funny thing is Led Zeppelin.
Do you think he's the greatest drummer ever?
I think he's one of them.
Who's at the top of your list? See, you can't really do this because I always say this about guitars, and I shouldn't have asked that question because I'm being a hypocrite. Because I say with the greatest guitarists, you get these, so you get the Stevie Ray Vaughns, you get the Roy Clarks, right? That's like in drums. You got these old jazz drummers, and you got these new rock drummers. You really can't. You have to really break it down to categories, because to say one person is better, Ginger Baker was probably the most technically sound rock drummer ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he had a very, jazz influence. He was innovative. He was creative. By the way, Ginger Baker
influential.
Ginger Baker says that John Bonham and Keith Moon were trash.
He didn't respect them.
No,
he didn't. He's like they were just fucking kids off the street playing drums, and they got in a band that was a big band, and they played okay, and they were good at bringing attention to themselves. But Ginger Baker is a technical fucking drummer. Like, that was what Stuart Copeland will tell you. Ginger Baker is probably the greatest drummer ever, right? Jazz drummer to jazz drummer.
But if you listen to interviews from like Keith Richards, and even who was I thinking of? Pete Townsend. Those guys hated Led Zeppelin.
Yeah,
Pete
Townsend hated everybody.
Didn't dig them. Didn't think that they swung. They just did what they did, and not really that great. Now,
So,
I don't agree with that. Hey,
right.
what about the dude from Def Leppard? Come on, how can he not be one of the greatest drummers? He plays with one arm.
I'm a drummer. He lost his arm. I shouldn't laugh at that. But he was in the middle of a field. He lost his arm, and all he could yell is, "I'm a drummer."
Yep.
I'm sorry. That's bad. Mark Smith has commented and tracked down the isolated drum track.
He's going to see.
To Fool in the Rain.
He's going to save a ton on drumsticks. He only has to buy one now.
So my late brother had one leg. Did he save a lot of money on shoes?
I don't know. Did he?
We can't ask him now. That's fucked up. Anyway, as Deb would say. Anyway.
Oh, yeah. Your brother could go into Dick's Sporting Goods and say, I'll take that one. Oh, yeah, I'll get you a box. No. I mean, just that one.
Just
right
that. I'll take the sample. I'll take the sample. So Mark Smith said, track down the isolated track from Fool in the Rain. It shows Bonham to be much better drummer than I gave him credit for. This is great because that's a great drum song.
Look, you can't deny that John Bonham was definitely up there.
Right. I mean, this is an old conversation, right? So let's move over to guitars now.
Alex Van Halen was a terrible guitar player.
Yeah. So I don't know how big a fan. I know I was, and I know probably Tal wasn't, and a lot of people weren't fans of Limp Bizkit. I was a big fan. I didn't, I thought Fred Durst was great. I loved that rap and metal thing. Huh? What? What'd you say? Did this motherfucker just freeze up? Or did I freeze up? Jack. Gee, he got cut off mid-sentence. That's too bad. Or am I the one? Now I got to go on my fucking... See who's
I'm here.
talking and who's not. Let's see. Am I here?
I'm here. Hello.
Can you hear me?
I think you're there.
Fuck.
I can hear you fine.
Oh, fuck it. You know what? You and that New Hampshire fucking Wi-Fi. That New Hampshire Wi-Fi.
What the fuck? Fucking Florida. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and I sound perfectly fine. At least I know how to talk into my microphone and not point it one way and face the other way. Jack's got his fucking microphone pointed north to south, but continuously during this live stream, his face is facing fucking west or east. But his microphone is facing north. His mouth is facing east. He's like, what? What? My microphone's right here. Did I not teach you anything?
Apparently not.
Apparently not. So moving on. Guitar players. I don't know if you were a big fan. I was, and I have been, and I always noticed that Wes Borland was an above average guitar player. But he was just known as the guitar player from Limp Bizkit, right? Because you had the dynamic frontman, big sound. Wes Borland was, extremely talented, is an extremely talented guitar player. So recently I went and did a little research on him, and I came across this video, and I want to play this video, and for the listeners and the viewers, just, if you don't like Limp Bizkit, then fucking don't worry about it, but just listen to the brilliance of Wes Borland if you've never paid attention to him. So, all right, I'm going to put it up right now. Let's go. That's not the one. That ain't the one. Let's get rid of that. All right, let's go over here. Media. Video.
Talk about Wes boring.
What? Get the fuck
out of
here.
Ew,
it is dead air. Here we go. All right, let me see.
Computer. Jack's microphone is facing west.
Yeah, well, it is actually. It fucking is, and that's the problem, right? Let me see. All right. I think I got this problem solved right now. Here we go. Let me get rid of that. Bear with me. This is moving right along. Come over here. Let's get rid of this. Let's go to the screen. All right, here we go. You motherfucker. Get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. See, you know what, dude? I got this. Fucking bear with me. What the fuck? See? Yeah. Well, this is awesome. Live. This is what happens when you go live, right?
You're doing a great job.
Shut the fuck up. People love this.
Hey, do you think Lars Ulrich is a great drummer?
There's isn't there kind of a fucking a thing on him that he's not really that good?
You have a bunch of videos on YouTube where people, post him like really fucking.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, here we go. Yeah. All right, here we go.
All right, good night, everybody. Listen. There's no sound.
Huh?
There's no sound.
There's no sound?
Oh, my God. I can't hear the video, no.
What the fuck, Jack? Really? Are you fucking with me? I can hear it.
I'm not fucking with you.
Hold on. Uh-huh. There we go. Can you hear it?
Dude, what? No. No.
Fuck. All right. Well, then we'll skip that one. Let me see. Can't hear it. Award-winning content. Yeah.
Dude, our podcast is just skyrocketing to the top.
All right, forget it. No. All right, let's move on.
Have we been picked up by Netflix yet?
better than Meghan Markle.
Oh, did she not have a good time on
fucking horrible.
doing podcasts?
That's a whole different thing.
Have you ever taken the time to listen to her podcast?
No, I've seen enough shit on YouTube to say that she's not as anyone I want to fucking listen to. She's kind of fucking creepy, actually.
Yeah, I don't.
Let me see.
Can't say I blame
Yeah.
you. And a terrible drummer, by the way.
All right, let's see if this works. Let's see. I'm gonna get this motherfucker played. But in the meantime, give me some filler, Jack.
I admire your persistence.
I am Mr.
Hey,
Persistent.
I don't know. Did you see?
Have you seen any good shows lately,
Did you
Jack?
see? Did you see that they announced that Oasis is going to release a bunch of tickets?
Oh, really?
You could conceivably pay off your debt.
Well, that ship sailed. I made my effort. I made my effort.
It's all over.
And where are they going to play?
Well, they're playing in closest to me is Jersey.
Stadium.
Not going to do it.
Stadium. What are we going to do? We're going to be fucking 30 yards away. I might as well be sitting in the balcony in the fucking back of the fucking Boston Garden.
As long as we're together, that's all I care about.
That's not really what matters in that case, because I'll be fucking extremely irritated with all the idiots from New Jersey. Why do I want to be in a stadium full of fucking idiots from New Jersey?
Speaking of completely irritated, are you still irritated with Springsteen?
That dude's done. Like, there's a lot of these. I mean, again, I would never go see him again.
Wait a minute. What do you mean done? What do you mean he's done?
He's done. Like, why is he even still touring? Like, these fucking guys that are touring in their late 70s, early 80s, the only people that go to see them are fucking half-baked fans. Or
dude,
zealots.
Have you seen the crowds that he's been attracting in Europe?
Fuck Europe. What do I care about Europe?
Huge.
What the fuck do I care about Europe?
Huge. And he's going to do the same when he comes back to the States.
Tal wants to go with you to go see Oasis. So.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't get tickets.
Tal put right at the bottom. Mark Smith says, I got a new Miles Davis CD today. Maybe I should put it on. Oh, yeah, here we go. No, I got this. I fixed it. I got it. It's gonna happen. This fucking video will get fucking played one way or another.
Dude, I am off this show in 14 fucking minutes, so you better move along.
The video's only like 7 minutes long, so good.
It's 7 minutes? After all this shit, you're gonna put people through 7 minutes of this crap?
Crap. Who calls it crap? Here we go. All right, because you don't like it? Because you don't like it?
I don't know. I can't tell you whether I like it or not. You can't play the damn thing.
I'm going to play it right now.
Wes Borland,
all right, let's
often
hear it.
overlooked as just the guitar player of Limp Bizkit. But what if I told you he's actually one of the greatest guitar players of all time? And I can prove it. I'm going to show you some of his best riffs, some of his most unusual techniques, and even some unorthodox gear that Wes pioneered and makes him stand out. Today's video is also sponsored by STL Tones and their new Tonality Wes Borland plugin. It's the new signature plugin for Wes Borland, and I'll be using this for all the guitar tones. It has 3 amps. Amp 1 is clean, Amp 2 is heavy, and Amp 3 is somewhere in between. It also has a whole bunch of pedals and effects that replicate Wes's signature sounds, developed in close collaboration with Wes himself to match his live rig and the original Limp Bizkit recordings. All the patches and presets I'm using will be on screen, so if you like what you hear, please check out the link in the description and the pinned comment. There's also a free trial so you can check it out and see if you like it. So, without any further delay, here are 5 reasons and riffs that prove Wes Borland is one of the GOATs. Number 1. Nookie. So the year is 1999. The guitar solo is dead, nu metal is massive, and Fred did it all for the Nookie. But did you know this song is actually played on a 4-string guitar tuned to F sharp? Yep, Wes tuned as low as an 8-string before anyone else, even Meshuggah, and did it with half the strings. He originally used a modified Ibanez Musician MC150PW, which is one of these. But now he uses custom-made 4 strings from Ibanez, PRS, and Master guitars. It's tuned to F sharp an octave higher, B and E, and has a baritone scale. So is it a guitar or a bass? I don't know, but it's very clever and no one else uses one. So So Wes literally invented a new type of guitar. Now obviously, I don't have a 4-string guitar, but here's what it sounds like on a modern regular 8-string. Number 2, rearranged. This song is almost exclusively played using 2-hand tapping. If you don't know what that means, you tap the fretboard and the strings with both hands. Now, it was already a very well-established and known technique in 1999 when this song came out. Shredders like Eddie Van Halen, Steve Vai, and Joe Satriani had been doing this for years already. But the thing is, it was mostly a lead technique, something you'd usually only see in solos. And the thing about nu metal is, there aren't many solos. So instead, Wes used 2-hand tapping in his riffs, something I don't think had really been done too much before, if at all. He used his right hand to keep a rhythm and a droning bass, and he used his left hand to add a melody. And it looks really easy, but it's not. It's actually very tricky.
This guy has to be pretty good to mimic this stuff too, because it's not easy to do this shit.
Number 3, Hot Dog. Continuing the trend of using lead guitar techniques as part of riffs, Hot Dog is one of the best examples of Wes's unorthodox style. This riff is almost exclusively played using the whammy bar.
This song almost has a Pantera
that's usually only
sound to
used
it.
for guitar solos.
Like a
Wes
Dimebag
again
Darrell
transferred it
sound.
over into the riffing side of things. Without it, it would kind of sound just a little bit plain, but with it, it sounds unique. Number 4, My Way. This song is the perfect example of less is more. It's essentially just 3 chords throughout, with the exception of the bridge, and instead of some groovy riffs, there's just some simple delay effects that are doing the majority of the work. Wes uses a lot of effects and pedals to get these weird filtered sounds and delays. Sometimes it's a whole chain of things that creates a really unique sound, and other times it's just a simple delay, as heard here.
Do you ever listen to Limp Bizkit? No.
Not really. You know, I've seen them.
Number 5. Break stuff. Lastly, how could I not include this riff? It's basically like Limp Bizkit's Enter Sandman. Wes is the absolute master at making heavy but groovy riffs. Every riff he writes has a bounce or a vibe to it. It's almost like a party. It's party metal. And this one is almost obnoxious. And it's so ridiculously simple as well. It's basically just a power chord, and then you lower one note to make it dissonant. That's it. That's the whole thing. All the best riffs, in my opinion, are based in simplicity, and it doesn't really get much more simple than this.
Sure.
So that's 5 reasons and riffs that I think proves that Wes Borland is one of the all-time greatest. What's your favorite Limp Bizkit riff? Let me know in the comments down below. Check out the...
So you'd never know. Like, again, he was just the guitarist from Limp Bizkit, right?
Did we lose our entire audience?
We didn't lose anybody, actually.
Where's the chat? I can't see it anymore. I'm just curious. Just want to see. Just want to see.
There we go.
So you asked the question, did I listen to Limp Bizkit? I listened to the stuff that was on the radio. Didn't really dive much deeper than that. I think Wes Borland is a creative guy. I love the way that he expresses himself on stage. He was a fun guitar player to watch. Like I said, I only got to see them once. But they were dynamic and fun and entertaining and whatnot. I think that his reputation suffers a little bit because he's with Limp Bizkit, and I'm not judging them as a band, but I think by and large, a lot of people kind of, I think they disparage that band a little bit, mostly because of Fred Durst.
Rapping thing.
Yeah, the rapping thing, and in a very... And this is not a fair comment by any stretch of the imagination, but they were labeled as a very male-dominated, misogynistic band.
Testosterone-driven. Ted Nugent, all that. Yeah.
Look, I've had people refer to Pearl Jam as cock rock.
I mean, and that's the music that they played. They played that hard-edged, in the rap and rock combination, which was actually that was done on the soundtrack for Judgment Night, the movie. Did you ever see that movie with Dennis Leary, Cuba Gooding Jr.?
No.
Where these guys go into they rent the bus, these friends in the Winnebago, and they're going on a trip, and they go through it's like Detroit or something. They get stuck, and Dennis Leary is the head of this gang, and it's a whole they chase them through the night. But the soundtrack, you had Public Enemy and Anthrax. You had Cypress Hill and not Tool, but some other band. They combine these metal bands with these hip hop guys. Listen to the soundtrack. Very fucking interesting soundtrack. So they come along, and Limp Bizkit comes along in the new metal thing, and they stood out. But they were so dominant that groups like Deftones and Korn got caught in that, they all came up at the same time, so they're rap and rock too, which they're not, right? But the new metal really caught a bad rap. But the guy's right. There's no guitar solos in new metal, which Kirk Hammett would never have survived. He got pissed off when fucking James Hetfield, when they came out with that album, and Hetfield said there's not going to be any guitar solos. He's like, what?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I just think Wes Borland needs the respect that he deserves as a great fucking guitarist, innovative. Like, just his sound is unique. He is what makes a great guitarist.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't have just one sound.
Hey, probably not wide or broad appeal, but you dig them. That's cool.
Yeah.
I think they have their place. Look, Limp Bizkit, they have a ton of songs. If you're working out, you're on your Peloton, you're out for a run. Remember when we used to run, Scott? Remember when we used to run?
Yeah, I remember those years. Way back in the day.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
But you put some of that stuff on it, that'll get you pumped up.
Yeah, blood pumping music. That's what I call it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I got a request, and it's probably your cue to hit the road, Jack, because Big Head Todd the Wet Sprocket.
That's it.
He thinks I should bring back This Day in Music, so I don't think you want to stick around for that.
I'll listen to it for a couple.
All right,
minutes.
Let me see. Mark Smith says, for rock and roll, my favorite guitarist is Richie Blackmore. My all-time favorite guitarist in all genres is Pat Metheny. Both were technically brilliant, created a do style. And that's the thing. It's all in the ear of the listener. You know what I mean? Like, who's to say that Pat Metheny isn't the greatest? Some will say, I was not a Jeff Beck fan. But highly regarded and regularly regarded as one of the greatest guitarists ever. Right?
Jeff Beck was that guy that he got sounds out of a guitar that people just couldn't figure out how he did it.
I never knocked him. I just never listened to him either. So
yeah, dude, you're a synth guy. You're not a guitar guy.
I'm a guitar guy. Don't get so.
That's why you like Wes Borland. He plays guitar more like a synthesizer.
All right, you know what? Hey Jack, you know what I was going to tell you? You know what happened on This Day in Music? Let's see. Let's go back to this day in 2020. American soul singer Tammy Lynn died. She scored a top 10 hit in the UK singles charts in 97. I'm not going to run away from you. She sang on all Dr. John's albums, as well as performing back vocals for the Rolling Stones album Exile on Main Street. Not a bad resume. Worked with Wilson Pickett, Sonny and Cher, Miles Davis. On this day in 2016, an electric guitar owned by Prince and a lock of David Bowie's hair sold at an auction for $150,000. Bowie's hair went for $18,000. Yeah. On this day in 2012, hundreds of fans were set to miss the Stone Roses reunion concert in Manchester this weekend after websites took their money but failed to deliver tickets. Two sites, associatetickets.com and blah, 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 who had sold the tickets had since disappeared.
Do you think that the Stone Roses will get back together?
No, they did. They when I went to see Morrissey at Madison Square Garden with Blondie, there was up on the marquee, it was the Stone Roses were going to be there. Like, no, they won't. They did already, and then they just didn't. If they were going to, they'd do it again.
Yeah, but I mean, a band like the Stone Roses, if you're in the Stone Roses, right, and the Stone Roses aren't together, what the fuck are you doing with your time?
Well, the drummer he's a good studio drummer. Like, he gets a lot of work. What's his name? The guitarist.
But how much more satisfaction and money are you going to make playing with the Stone Roses? Like, they should get their asses out there.
There's a whole documentary that they did that. They did, and they followed them on tour, and it was kind of fucking chaotic. They're just fucking crazy. Let's see. On this day, and we'll go to. I'll pass. On 1974, Cher divorced Sonny Bono after 10 years. Well, there you go. And this day in 73, Keith Richards and his girlfriend Anita Pallenberg were arrested for drug and gun charges. And this day in 72, during sessions at Olympic Studios in London, David Bowie recorded John, I'm Only Dancing with the late Mick Ronson. Right? We didn't talk about that, right?
We also didn't talk about Mick Rouse last
yeah.
week.
We could talk about that next week. Lou Reed on rhythm guitar.
I'm not
Where
going to
you
be around
going
next week. Hey, by the way, Carly Simon turned 82 yesterday. Don't forget that.
Her mouth isn't as pretty as it was when she was than it was in 1976. So, let me see on this day. All right, I'm going to skip all because I know the Beatles and Elvis. You're like, let me guess, Beatles and Elvis. Let's see. Happy birthday.
Oh, the Beatles.
I don't care about her.
Hey, well, wait a minute. On this day in 1968, John Lennon took a
happy
shit.
birthday, Colin Greenwood. Right?
From Radiohead.
The great bass player from Radiohead. He was born in 69. What's that?
Is he still? He was on. He played when Deb and I saw him. He was with Nick Cave.
I guess they're mates now. Happy birthday, Harriet Wheeler, from one of my favorite 90s groups, the Sundays. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful voice. Unbelievable voice. Happy birthday, Terry Nunn from Berlin. Happy birthday to the very talented and under the radar, low key Chris Isaac. Happy birthday, Mick Jones from The Clash, born on this day in 1955. Let's see. And who's at the end? Let's see. Let's always go to the end. Oh, happy birthday to the late Billy Davis Jr., American from You Don't Have to Be a Star, Baby. And The Fifth Dimension. He was married to Marilyn McCoo. And happy birthday to Colonel Tom Parker, born on this day in 1910.
Good job screwing Elvis.
Did he ever? Did he ever?
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Well, all right, buddy. Let's call this a night. Good 1 hour.
I am so glad that I stuck around for this day in music. It was the best part of the
Big
show.
Head Talk.
Awesome.
That show you did. Let me see. Mark Smith just said, I missed it. I'll bring it up so you can read it so you don't get offended. Mark Smith says, wow, that's how you did this day in music. I thought you had an army of writers in another room coming up with the great journalism.
Yeah. This day in plagiarism.
They were actually work from home people that I fired.
Hey, I am Scott McLean. I'm going to lip sync this day in music.
What the fuck up. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you like it, share it. If you didn't like it, well, thanks for watching and listening for an hour and 3 minutes. I hope you learned something tonight. I hope you enjoyed it.
Hey, wait a minute. Why don't you let's play another 20 minutes of Wes Borland video.
I will. I can listen to Wes Borland all night. Wes Borland's a fucking good guitarist.
You
couldn't invent a 4-string guitar in F.
He was the best guitar player in Korn.
Monkey and Head. Those are the guitar players from Korn, and they're very good. Great show. Patty Yossi enjoyed it. Thanks, Scott and Jack. See you next week. Mark Flynn. Hey, let's get this podcast moving. He just fucking thanks for showing up. Thanks for showing up, Mark Flynn, king of the Maryland trailer parks. And like I said, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you like it, share it. If you didn't like it,
but I saw a picture of Mark Flynn on Facebook, like back in the day when he was like soldiering. So he was a badass, man. I wouldn't mess with him.
Don't let that fool you. He was from the trailer parks of Beverly, Mass. So those trailer parks can get a little rowdy.
In Beverly, Mass?
He's from Beverly. Yeah.
So that's like the greatest upscale neighborhood in Dorchester.
Mark Smith liked the show. See, you're just a Debbie Downer. You.
Who is?
Yeah, let's listen to 8 more hours of Wes Borland. Yeah.
Hey, I got 15 minutes of Everly Brothers.
Oh, that was the worst fucking segment of a show in 179 shows, 180. That was the worst segment. Your segment on the Everly Brothers
not.
was fucking droning on and on.
It was very informational and
for the
inspirational.
Everly Brothers. Like, I'm like, oh my God.
People walked away from that show saying, you know what? I learned a little something there.
You know what's something? You know what's funny is I talked to Mark Smith and Perry Lightfingers Dedovich, the AI. And what happens is, like, on Music Relish, each one of them, and I'll never give you this opportunity, so don't even think about it. They each week in Lou, they run the show. Like, okay, next week it's Mark, and the week after it'll be Lou, and the week after it's Perry. Then it rotates around, right? And they can come up with the topic, and it doesn't matter what the topic is. The other two have to listen to it.
I would actually like to go on that show sometime.
They don't go live. They don't do live. You'd have to call in, and you'd have to do the whole thing.
Pussies.
Look, I mean, I think you'd be great on that. I think they should invite you on, but I think you're always too busy. Mark Smith. See, of course, he says the Everly Brothers are effing great. Yeah. He has that one segment on a loop, by the way. Mark Smith does. Your segment, your worst segment in the history of milk crates. On the Everly Brothers. He has it on a loop.
You know.
What? I'm saying he has it on a loop. What? I'm giving you credit. What are you trying to look up?
So by the way, you're talking about, getting together and doing the show. I am not available next Thursday. I'm going to the press room in Portsmouth. There's a local band that is actually doing Springsteen's Nebraska in its entirety.
A cover band. Great. A cover band doing an acoustic. Do you know that motherfucker says there's an electric version of Nebraska? All of a sudden, he says this.
No, there always has been.
That's what I think of the electric version in Nebraska.
Yeah, see, you're criticizing something that you've never even heard.
Because you can't fuck with that album.
Well, why do you think he hasn't released it, dipshit?
He tempts people that it might get released. It might get released.
I'm sure it will. Dude, I got to tell you something. He's released like 4 or 5 songs off the upcoming tracks, like all of the stuff that he didn't release. Some of that stuff is freaking brilliant. I mean, it just goes to show the quality of writing and in the
worst lyricist in the history of music.
Possesses. That is absolutely not true.
Look at the lyrics to Born to Run.
How can you say that? Wait a minute. How can you say that? The worst lyricist?
Yeah.
You're talking about, you were just talking about him praising Limp Bizkit. All about
I didn't say he was a great lyricist.
Give me something to break.
I didn't say he was a great lyricist. Lyric? I never said that. So you say, but you're going to debate this with me. So all right, hold on one second. Stick with me.
Tell me why.
Here we go.
Tell me why Springsteen is a bad lyricist.
All right, let's start from the top. In the day, we sweated out on the streets of a runaway American dream. At night, we ride through mansions of glory and suicide machines. Sprung from cages out on Highway 9. That makes no fucking sense. Chrome wheel, fuel injected, and stepping out over the line. It's a death trap. It's a suicide rap. We got to get out while we're young. Because tramps like us, baby, let me in. I want to be your friend. I want to guard your dreams and visions. Wrap your legs around these velvet rims and strap your hands across my engines. Together we can break this trap. We'll run till we drop, baby. We'll never come back. Because, baby, I'm just a scared and lonely rider. But I got to know how it feels. I want to know if love is wild. I mean, come on. Beyond the palace, Hemi-powered drones. What the fuck is a Hemi-powered drone?
You are.
Girls comb their hair in the rearview mirrors. No, men do that. And boys try to look so hard. That's a Pete Townsend gay thing. Amusement parks, rises bold in stocks. Kids are huddled on the beach in the mist. I want to die with you, Wendy, on the street tonight in an everlasting kiss. Huh? It's not in the lyrics, but I mean, it's stupid. Stupid.
No, it's not stupid.
Stupid.
You know what's stupid?
You know what's stupid?
I
said it first. You're stupid.
Look, you can make, any song sound idiotic if you read the lyrics like you just read them, like a moron.
Brilliant Disguise lyrics are epic, according to Mark Flynn.
Listen to me. Hey, why don't you do me a favor? Read the lyrics to "A Day in the Life" by the Beatles with the same cadence and voice and inflections that you
if
just
you're
did.
here,
It's
next
still
time you do it, how's that? We'll have a segment on me reading lyrics.
I read the news today.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah, but at least they kind of make sense.
He blew his mind out in a car. Duh.
You making fun of suicide? You making fun of suicide? Was that Jack?
I am not.
I thought you were sensitive to that stuff. Like you were a guy like
I am not.
You just that's on video. You just did that live.
I'm making fun of you.
I didn't mean to make you feel uncomfortable.
So you can take the lyrics and roll like a Rolling Stone and make them sound idiotic, just like you did. Bruce Springsteen is a brilliant songwriter. He is. Does he have some cheesy songs? Yeah, no question about it.
10th Avenue Freeze Out. It's nothing. It doesn't mean anything. He even said it. He goes, he goes, what is 10th Avenue Freeze Out? He goes, I don't know. Just sounded like something cool to say. Although I have listened to some lyrics lately and they're fucking stupid. Like a lot of lyrics. There's a lot of lyrics out there that are stupid fucking lyrics. But they match the music and for some reason our brains accept it. These little segments, these little bites of memory, and the rest of it is just a blur. Like it doesn't really mean anything. It's like as a photographer, you take a picture and you focus it to where you blur out the back and it's just the image. That's what our brains do to certain pieces, certain sentences in songs that we cling to. That one part of the song, What did we say growing up? DJs have the fucking most sadistic fucking people in the world, right? Because every time someone broke up with you, and in your case, it was a lot, there was always that song that came on the radio, right? And that one lyric in there, We walked through the park holding hands like, yeah, we did. You don't care about the rest of the song. But that's the thing about music. We love to put ourselves in any type of scenario that the good song, the good lyrics in the song, whatever. But yeah, there's a lot of stupid lyrics. As a matter of fact, next time you come on, you got 2 weeks, find some stupid lyrics to a song we think is great.
Oh, I can do that right now. Let me pull up Limp Bizkit's entire catalog.
All right, you know what? I want to try something right there. In this, I think you can relate to this. I think you could relate to this. So here we go. Jack, I am gonna equate a Limp Bizkit song to you. All right, here we go. This is to you. I came into this world as a reject. Look into these eyes, then you'll see the size of the flames, dwelling on the past, burning up my brain. Everyone that burns has to learn from the pain.
How come you're not reading this like you were reading Springsteen's lyrics?
Well, because it's just more fun to really be specific, because this is about you. Hey, I think about the day my girlie ran away when fellas came to play. Now she's stuck with my homies that she fucked, and I'm just a sucker with a lump in my throat, like a chump. Should I be feeling bad? Should I be feeling good? It's kind of sad. I'm the laughing stock of the neighborhood. This is all about you. And you would think that I'd be moving on, but I'm a sucker like that. Like I said, fucked up in the head. And maybe she just made a mistake. Maybe I should give her a break. My heart will ache either way. Hey, what the hell do you want me to say? I won't lie. That I can't deny. I did it all for the nookie. Yeah, why did it take so long? Why did I wait so long to figure it out? But I did it, and I'm the only one underneath the sun who didn't get it. I can't believe that I could be deceived by my so-called girl, who had a hidden agenda. She put my tender all in a blender, and still I surrendered. That's you, Jack. That's you.
God. This song is idiotic.
I'm all human. It's so easy for your friends to give you their advice. Then they tell you, just let it go. But it's easiest to say said than done. I appreciate it. There you go. It's all about you. You got. Hey, listen. Your girl dumped you, Jack, and that was that. That was that.
So you can make up anything you want. We both know the real story.
Well, I just remember that part of your life. The one that says that I was deceived by my so-called girl, but in reality, she had a hidden agenda. She put my agenda all in a blender. I was the only one under the sun who didn't get it. She fucked all my friends. Well, I'm not.
Oh my God.
I didn't do it. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. I didn't do it.
Oh, you're killing me.
Don't worry, Jack. You were only 17. You didn't know any better.
No. I was 15 and 17 and 19. No.
Quite a run, Jack.
I got to tell you though. I got to tell you those some great lyrics, man.
Hey, well, there's that song. That's that song. Let me see. Mark Flynn said, I always thought Steely Dan's lyrics were smarmy and kind of dumb at times. Read those lyrics. I read, and I could never find this article again. It was about how they wrote their music. They did it in a specific way. They were very kind of cryptic in a lot of stuff. All right, that's it. We got to go. Jack just yawned. All right, everybody. Once again, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you didn't like it, thanks for listening for an hour and 17 minutes. And as I always say, to quote my favorite artist, Morrissey, doing the show for you, the pleasure, the privilege is mine. And I'll be back next week. Jack won't be. I need the break. He did it all for the nookie, and that's it. Say goodnight, Fred.
Jump.